Funding on American public schools has escalated fantastically. It has gone up many, many times from what it was, and yet the schools never seem to improve. And yet, we never see people like Jesse Jackson protesting outside the public schools, even though black kids can't get a good education seemingly anywhere in the whole city or in the whole state. Now, why is that? Similarly, healthcare. People say healthcare costs keep rising. Why do healthcare costs keep rising? Healthcare costs keep rising for a really simple reason. The guy who's getting the benefit is not the guy who's paying. Now, let me engage in a moment of speculative, progressive reasoning for a moment. We have a right, no less for healthcare, we have a right to eat. We have a right to food. Who would deny that the right to prevent ourselves from starvation is as basic a right as healthcare? All right, now let's have Obamacare as applied to food. You will now be allowed to go to the grocery store and order whatever you want. Fill up your cart, you don't have to pay. Somebody else will pay. What's going to happen? The first thing that will happen is you'll take all kinds of stuff that you don't need. You'll fill your cart, you'll buy 12 cartons of milk and 45 cartons of bologna. And then you go up to the counter, and the grocery store will realize that they can charge whatever they want because you're not paying. So they will escalate their prices. The basic idea is that what's going on, you and the grocery store are conspiring to rip off the taxpayer. A third man is being cheated. And so what's going on with free education, free healthcare, is the taxpayer is being ripped off.
Simultaneously, the thousands...
That's facts. It's never actually free when they say it's free. They always say, oh yeah, free, free, free. But most people don't understand that it's never free. Somebody has to pay for it. That money has to come from somewhere. But you know, Democrats love to say free because they understand that their voting base are, what's a nice term? Zombies? Trying to be nice here. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue on.
The taxpayer is being ripped off.
Simultaneously, the hundreds, if not thousands, of bills passed by officials since 2011 that have policed the woman's body and limited female access to contraceptives and to abortion.
We talk about birth control and abortion. Let's set aside for one moment the debate about whether or not abortion is a constitutional right. I would submit that it is not. You can read the Constitution, squeeze lemon juice on it, hold it upside down, it's just not in there. But let's assume it was. Let's assume it was sort of invisibly there as part of the Bill of Rights. Right up there with free speech and right up there with the right to religion and the right to assembly and so on. Here's my question to you. Why should the abortion right be subsidized when none of our other fundamental rights are? I mean, you have a right to free speech. Does the government give you money to start a newspaper? You have a Second Amendment right to own a gun. Is the government going to buy you a shotgun? You have a right to free assembly. You got to do it on your own time. You have a right to free exercise of religion. The government's not going to pay for your churches. So, since the government pays for none of our other fundamental rights, why does this right get to be in a category of itself? So let's imagine I'm walking on the riverbank.
Great point. Although, you know, hey, I wouldn't mind, you know, if you're going to buy me a Shotgate. Whoa. What was I saying? I almost said shot gauge. I caught myself before it actually came out. We didn't have a Joe Biden moment, okay? We almost did, though. We almost did. I almost got sandbagged. Okay, all seriousness. Hey, I wouldn't mind if, you know, they wanted to buy us all some shotguns or, you know, some type of 9 mils or something. Hey, an armed society is a peaceful society, in my humble opinion, because if you know that the person next to you more than likely has a firearm, you're a whole lot less likely to do something stupid. You're a whole lot less likely to pick that building or that area as, you know, a target. We saw with the I forgot. There was a terrible situation that happened. You know, it was some months ago now, but where we found out that there was another location that the person wanted to go to, but they saw someone with a firearm. I want to say security or something. So they chose not to go there and go to the other location. So if you know everyone walking around said grocery store or said outlet mall or whatever is carrying, then, you know, you're probably not going to go in there and try to start, you know, doing something stupid, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to keep it PG here. All right? I'm just saying. Y'all agree? Let me know.
Or on the beach, and I have a sandwich. I made it. It's my favorite bologna and cheese sandwich. And I'm walking around getting ready just to whip it out and uncork it and start eating it, when a guy comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, I'm really hungry. Give me half your sandwich." And so I do. I give him half a sandwich. Now, I would say that this is actually a very virtuous transaction. Why? Because first, I am a good guy. I shared my sandwich. I feel good about myself, and rightly so. And the person who gets the sandwich is a recipient of a good deed, and so they feel a sense of gratitude and a sense of obligation, and maybe later if they have a sandwich, they'll share with some other guy. So it's an all-round, you may say, virtuous transaction. But now I want to run the same transaction, but run it through the government with slight modifications. So let's follow the same transaction. I'm walking on the beach, I've got my sandwich, I open it up, I'm about to eat it, hungry guy shows up and he goes, "I'm hungry, give me half your sandwich." Now let's say that I answer no. Now, in a sense, I'm not doing anything evil because it is my sandwich. It is mine to give. If he doesn't get it, he's no worse off than he was before. I'm not oppressing him. I'm merely not conferring a benefit on him. But nevertheless, I've said no. And now something interesting happens. I hear galloping, and here's Obama on a white horse. He shows up. He dismounts, and he puts a gun to my head.
Oh.
And he goes, "Hand that man half your sandwich." And so I do. And so the outcome is the same as in my earlier example. The other guy ends up at half a sandwich. But now let's follow the actual transaction. First of all,
but the ending or the thought process behind it is completely different. The first, well, let's see what he's going to say first.
I am a reluctant giver. I was not going to give him the sandwich. I'm forced. I have a gun to my head. It's no virtue to me because I'd rather give up the sandwich than have my brains blown out.
Facts.
So I just chose the lesser evil. I deserve no credit. The guy who gets the sandwich, far from feeling appreciative, he feels entitled. "Oh crap, only half a sandwich. Where's the other half, man? I'm really hungry." In other words, he's entitled. And so what I'm getting at is the same transaction that would be a beautiful and virtuous transaction if it were voluntary and in the private sector becomes a monstrous transaction. In fact, if you look at this transaction of the horseman dismounting and putting a gun to my head, if someone tried that in the private sector, they would be considered an outlaw and sent to prison. No, don't shout at me. I'm defending fascism. No, I'm exposing you as a fascist. Because do you realize, I'll tell you how. You asked me a question. Hold on. Are you familiar with the black shirts in Italy or the brown shirts in Germany? Do you realize that they would go to campuses, goons, and would stand in the back of the room, and when somebody tried to make an intelligent presentation and answer questions, they would shout them down, yell at them, try to intimidate them, and count as success if they could get the event canceled and the speaker threatened. But see, the problem is, sometimes you get speakers like me who are not scared of people like you. We recognize your frauds. I recognize that ultimately you are afraid of ideas. You're not willing to engage with me. Yes, you're afraid of ideas. You're not afraid of fascists. You think I pose a threat to you? I'm an immigrant. I came to America with nothing. What threat do I pose to you?
Now, if we're saying that it's absolutely impossible.
Bingo. He said it. He nailed or hit the nail on the head. Nailed. What? Where in the world was I going with that? Oh, man. Talk about Joe Biden moments. Goodness gracious. He hit the nail on the head with that one. They are afraid of ideas. It's all about love and inclusivity and everything else until it comes to ideas. Then it's anger and, diversity doesn't matter because we don't need those ideas and whatever else. And it's just like, So you pick and choose when, you love certain things and you value diversity. So when are you going to devalue certain people's lives? Like when do you take that next step? Because logically in my mind, that's where I see this going. This only escalates from here. You talk about this low level stuff now, right? It's just in terms of speech. That's it. We're keeping it to speech. But eventually, once you garner enough power, I know that escalates to a different level. So when does that happen? Just asking. That's just the logical step up in my mind. It's just the next step. Interesting question to ask, isn't it? Yeah, very scary.
Possible to give that money back because it's too hard to trace. We'd have to give money to the African tribes. We'd have to give money to people who are no longer exist. That's absolutely fine, but we have to understand that we haven't really come to terms with that injustice that's been perpetrated. And if we are admitting that no one is perfectly entitled to absolutely everything that their ancestors had stolen from them, then we also have to accept that there are people today who benefit from the fact that their parents and grandparents profited from this immoral system. And the way to deal with that is with a social safety net that enables everyone to thrive. I'll leave you there.
Now, the first thing I'm trying to say is this is a hugely controversial principle because it actually involves wrecking the freedom of a free society. You basically have to put it frankly, if we were to carry that out, go into people's homes and take their stuff, take their furniture, take their cars. You don't seem to have even the guts to do that. You don't have the moral self-confidence to do it yourself. It may be, if I am advocating a rule of social justice and I'm advocating it for the whole society, before I persuade everybody else, let's say I'm a Christian and I believe everybody should give 10% of their wealth to help the poor. And I go, you know what? The Bible says this, the Bible says that, everybody should give 10% of their wealth to help the poor. And somebody says, Dinesh, are you giving 10% of your wealth? And I'm like, actually no, but I did do some tutoring. And you go, wait a minute, aren't you advocating, aren't you saying that there is a moral duty to do this? Why don't you do it? I'm saying that the Southern economy was essentially a non-capitalist economy. Its champions knew that. The defenders of slavery all attacked capitalism. They hated capitalism. I'm saying that the Southern economy was essentially a non-capitalist economy. Its champions knew that. The defenders of slavery all attacked capitalism. They hated capitalism.
It was in the pursuit of profit, which has continued on since then through the Jim Crow eras, since the establishment of private prisons, and it's happening to this day. It hasn't changed. It's been capitalism since this country has been founded, and that capitalism is rooted in the slavery of this country.
The dictator of Venezuela, Maduro, right? When he died, he was a billionaire. So he was obviously in pursuit of profit. He was a socialist who was looting the country for himself. Was he a capitalist because he cared about profit? No, because capitalism is not just about caring about profit. Capitalism is about a certain way of going about business that actually mutually enriches all the parties involved. Otherwise, they don't do the transaction. If I go to apply for a job at a company, and let's just say they offer to pay me $1 an hour, right? And let's just say that I say, that's scandalous, that's slavery wages. If I don't take the job, I'm no worse off than I was before. They haven't exploited me in any way. They're offering me a deal, I'm free to take it or not. It's completely different if they go grab me, put a chain around my neck, and make me work. That's the opposite of capitalism. That's why, read Lincoln. Lincoln says slavery is you work, I eat. And the alternative for him is the hand that makes the corn gets to put the corn in its own mouth. For Lincoln, that's capitalism. The Scandinavian model.
Yeah. Wow. I just don't understand how people still advocate for socialism. It's just, oh man, it's mind numbing. How do you advocate for something that you haven't seen work? Where has it been a success? Where has it been a success? And then in this situation, you had somebody trying to bash capitalism. And I love the way Dinesh put it. Like, even if there is someone who is trying to take advantage of the, capitalist system in terms of offering people low wages, people are free to say, no, I'm not working for $5 an hour. I'm not doing it. People are free to say that. And guess what has to happen? If that business owner wants to continue to make money in the capitalist system, they're going to have to raise their wages in order to get people to walk through that door and apply again. It's not like socialism where you're forced, right, to, one, be taken advantage of. Goodness gracious. Holy cow. I didn't know the guy died a billion. And then when you look at, oh man, when you look at some of these places where, they try to create the ultimate utopia, Venezuela being one, you look at, terrible living conditions. And we checked out a video, I want to say with, what's the guy's name that did the interviews? Ami Horowitz. Ami Horowitz. He actually went to Venezuela. Some of you probably remember this video. If you haven't, oh man, good luck finding that amongst all the videos I've dropped over the past year and a half. Holy cow. Goodness gracious. I probably dropped at least 1,500 videos in that time period. No, probably actually, it might be closer to 2,000 videos in that time period. I don't know. It's a lot of videos. Anyway, just scroll back through. You might stumble across it. All right. But you see, terrible living conditions. In the clip, the guy was talking about searching for family pets to eat, right? Starvation. And then you look at the people that run the country, or even the people that work with the people that run the country, and you see a totally different story. And you're just like, this doesn't look like a great utopia or system to me. This looks like slavery. This looks like modern day slavery. That's what it looks like to me. You work, we eat. And we'll give you the scraps. We'll send a truck down to town every now and then when we get some stuff, and each of you can have one each, because all of us, we've got the rest. Stay on your side of town. We'll stay on ours, or else. That doesn't sound like a great system to me. So when people try to push for socialism, it's just like, really? Are you stupid or are you dumb? Those are the only two choices, okay? Those are the only two. Excuse my French, all right? But, hey, as always, thank you guys for watching to this point. I greatly appreciate it. Really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.